Alright guys, it's time to get controversial. Hello everyone, my name is Shelby. Welcome back to my channel, Grace with Books. Today I'm going to be doing the All-Stars Bookternet Charity Challenge. This is a tag that was created by Rachael Marie, and the concept is you go through a list of very popular books and you talk about whether or not you've read them and why. And for every video submitted to the link down below, Rachael Marie will donate $1 to a COVID-19 relief fund. It's a really great cause. I'll actually be donating some of my own money when I'm done filming just because it's something that I really want to support. I was tagged by the wonderful Eden is Reading. I will link her down below, and I challenge all of you to try to complete this tag, but specifically I'm going to be tagging Erin from Ripley's Reads, Delancey from Reading BRB, and Sadie from Sadie Joyful. So have fun, you guys. I'm really excited about this video. I think that it'll be really fun to talk about some really popular books and authors and if I read them or not. So we're just gonna get started and it's gonna be great. So I'm gonna put the graphic up and we'll get started. So the first person on this little chart is Angie Thomas. Angie Thomas is the author of books like On the Come Up and The Hate U Give. I have not read any of her books. It's something that I want to read. I just never really got around to it. You guys know me, I don't read a lot of contemporaries. I'm more getting into them now, but as I said, I'm getting more into adult contemporaries rather than young adult. It's sort of just a genre that I'm aging out of, but I do know how important The Hate U Give is in our world today, so it's definitely a book I do eventually want to pick up. I just haven't yet. And then On the Come Up, I don't know, the plot just didn't seem to interest me, but I do want to read The Hate U Give. Next up, we have Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. I have read this book. I have it. Okay, I messed up my bookshelves a bit, but that's fine. It's for the video. So I have read Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. I have not continued with the series. I read this years and years and years ago, and I've just never picked up the second book or the rest of the series. Not because I'm not interested, just because other things came up. So I did really enjoy this book. I liked the concept. I thought it was super interesting, but I've only read the first book. I do want to continue with this series because I liked this book. The next author we're going to talk about is Leigh Bardugo, and yes, I have read the majority of her books. It would have been so much smarter for me to pull these down ahead of time, wouldn't it? I don't know why I do this to myself. Okay, so I own a lot of Leigh Bardugo's books. I've read the Grisha series, I've read the Six of Crows duology. I have not read King of Scars or The Ninth House yet. I do want to read King of Stars because I love Nikolai, who is a big figure in these books. But Ninth House keeps getting a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm not quite sure if I want to read that yet. It'll definitely come after I finish reading King of Scars because I really love that series and I love the Grishaverse. I am really excited for the Netflix adaptation that they're doing, and they're actually combining these two series into one Grishaverse. For the show, I'm a little worried about that, but you know, it's fine. We'll get there. I'm always nervous about adaptations when they come out. So yeah, I have read Leigh Bardugo, love her, and would like to keep reading her stuff. So the next series on this list is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and I love this series. It just has the perfect mix of political intrigue, action, fantasy, fae, and Holly Black just blends it all so well together. I own all of the books, and I own 2 of one book because I'm special. Just kidding, it's the Fairy Loot exclusive edition of Queen of Nothing, and it's stunning. It has a snake on it. It was upside down. It has a snake on it. It has snakes on the side. It's super cool. I love this edition. Thinking on it now, my favorite book is probably The Cruel Prince, just because there's so many twists and turns in this book. It's just going all the time and you never know what to expect next, and that's what I love about Holly Black's writing. She just goes for it. She doesn't care. She just goes for it. So yeah. The next book that is on the list is The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. I have not read this book. I'm not entirely sure what it's about. I have seen people talking about it, but not recently. I did read Rin Chupeco's recent book that's coming out called Wicked As You Wish. I really did not enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the writing or the story. It was very messy to me. So after reading that, I'm less inclined to pick up The Bone Witch. I don't know, because I really didn't like Wicked As You Wish. So I probably won't ever pick up any of the other books. I probably will not be reading The Bone Witch unless one of you guys makes a really persuasive argument in the comments. That one was fast. We're on to the next one, which is V.E. Schwab. I love her. I have sort of had like a love-hate relationship with her books. They take me so long to read, but I always enjoy them. Funnily enough, I'm actually in the middle of 2 of her series right now, so I am up to book 2 in the Darker Shade of Magic series. So I finished the first 2 books. I just have to read A Conjuring of Light. And the other series that I am currently reading by her is This Savage Song. It's a duology. Loved this book. I thought it was so interesting, and I have yet to read the second book, Our Dark Duet. So both are on my TBR. We'll get to them eventually, but yeah, I do think that she has so many amazing stories to tell, and I really do want to keep reading her stuff. After that, we have Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I've read this book. I love it. And here she is now. It is so awesome. I love a good retelling set in space. The entire series is filled with fairy tale retellings in outer space, and it's awesome. I think it was so inventive, it's so comprehensive, and you just fall in love with the world right away. Marissa Meyer does such a good job world building. One thing I do love about retellings is they take princesses who were complacent in their Disney movies and make them strong women. So yes, highly recommend. Oh my god, there's so many books. I feel like I've been doing this forever. So the next one is super easy. It's Adam Silvera, and I've read none of his stuff. The only one that seemed somewhat interesting to me is They Both Die at the End, which I think has an interesting concept, but I think it might be too sad for me just because you know the ending. So none of his books just ever really appealed to me. I don't know why. I can't bring myself to get them when there are other books I'd rather read. It's just not really my taste or my style. I appreciate that people do like his books. I'm sure he's a great writer and a great storyteller. Just none of his stories appeal to me. So that's it. That was short. The next author on this list is Cassandra Clare, and I have all of her books right here, so super easy. Cassandra Clare is most well known for writing books within the Shadowhunters world, and she has a bunch of different series taking place in this world where in the shadows there are a group of half angel, half humans who protect mundanes or humans from demons, and it is amazing. She just does amazing writing and amazing world building within an established world, and it's just so amazing to me how she can keep just pulling stories out of a hat, and they're always well written, they're always well done. So I love her writing and her, honestly. But yeah, I really adore Cassandra Clare. Next up, we have The 7 Wives of Evelyn Hugo. That is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Haven't read it, haven't read any of her books. I have been interested to try Daisy Jones and the Six, so that might be something I pick up in the future, but I haven't read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't know why. It's just, once again, something that I've never really been eager to pick up, something that I don't really have a desire to read for any reason other than I just don't feel like it, which is like, I feel like a horrible answer to give you guys, but I don't know, sometimes you just don't feel like reading a book, and I've just never been in the mood to read Evelyn Hugo. I'm probably not gonna pick it up. Okay, the next one is a fun one, and that is Leonie Taylor. She is an awesome author. She wrote the Strange the Dreamer series, which is a duology, which is absolutely imaginative and wonderful. She also has another series called Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I've only read the first book in that series. It was very confusing for me. I tried to physically read it, but it was hard for me to grasp the language and the style of narration she was using. I found it much easier to listen on audiobook, so I'm just sort of waiting for the second and third book to be available on my Libby app so I can get it free through my library, and until that comes, I'm probably not going to read it, but I did love the Strange the Dreamer duology. It is so great, so magical. She just writes dreamers extremely well, and I love her pink hair. That's all I have to say. The next one is another fun one for me because it is arguably one of the most popular sci-fis in the Bookternet, and that would be Illumini by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is a sort of multimedia files collection telling the story about these people whose colony was destroyed and are forced to flee on a spaceship with sort of a angry AI. So it's fun. I think it's so interesting how they'd have different types of storytelling, whether it's files or DM chat discussions or just like battle scenes that are just words laid out in a really cool way. I just think it's so cool and inventive the way that they compiled this story. So obviously I gave this book 5 stars. I think I gave every book in this series 5 stars. It is amazing the way they're able to tell the story, and if you have a chance you should definitely listen to the audiobook along with reading it, because the audiobook has like a full cast, they have all these cool sound effects, so it really just enhances your experience. So highly recommend. Next we have Scythe by Neil Shusterman, which is another really popular dystopian fantasy. It's basically based off this idea that in the future we have cured death and hunger and sickness, and anyone can live as long as they want, but in order to keep the population under control, society has appointed scythes who basically kill to keep the population in check. So this is sort of about 2 scythe apprentices sort of learning the ropes and understanding how the world works on the darker side. This is a book unlike anything I have ever read before. I definitely read this because of BookTube, so thank you. And I totally understand why it's on this list, because not only is it a really popular book, but it deserves all that hype because it really is so mature and amazingly written and just a wonderful story. Next up is Sarah J. Maas, who is one of the most popular fantasy writers of all time. I'm not even going to try to get all my books down because there's so many, but they're all right here. So this, like, most of this shelf is just devoted to Sarah J. Maas. So I've read all of her books so far. I've read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I read Throne of Glass. I read her new book called Crescent City, which I really enjoyed and gave 5 stars. Sarah J. Maas just knows how to world build. She knows how to write enticing characters. She just knows how to write. She knows how to grasp an audience. She knows how to pull them in and keep them wanting more. And that is something really hard to do, and she has done it so well over the past years. I'm in awe. Next up we have Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I have read this book. I read the first 2 books. I haven't been able to read the 3rd book yet. I think I was waiting for it and then I sort of forgot about it, and then I had all these other books to read. So I do love her writing. I do love the series, the 2 books that I was into it. I just haven't had a chance to read the 3rd book, which I believe is A Reaper in the Gates. So hopefully now with all of the time that I have, I'll finally be able to sort of reread the 2nd book, especially before the last one comes out. That is my goal, so it is definitely on the forefront of my mind to finish that series. But yes, I loved the 1st book. So I'm not gonna lie, I have never heard of the next author who is on this list. Her name is Shannon McGuire, and I'm probably saying that so incredibly wrong, but I've never heard of her books. I mean, I feel like I recognize some of her covers, but I've never heard of a bunch of her books, so obviously no, I haven't read any of her stuff. I really didn't even know who she was before today. Never heard from her, never read anything by her, did not know this person existed. If you have any recommendations for me of anything to read by her, let me know, because I'm like, I don't know, I just have no idea who she is. Damn, I'm on a losing streak because the next one is The Poppy War, and I haven't read that either. The Poppy War is by R.F. Kuang. I'm so sorry. I haven't read this either. I don't know what it's about. Ugh. Google says it's about like a fantastical, grim, dark, mid-20th century China, which is interesting. I've never read it. It's, you know, just another book I've heard of but have not read, have really no desire to read. Yeah, that's a no for me. And now, finally, we are at the last book on this list, and that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I've read this book, thank God. I have read To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I've read the 2nd book in the series. I have yet to read Always and Forever Laura Jean. I really did love the 1st book. I read it when I was a bit younger, and I just related to Laura Jean's personality a lot, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the 1st movie adaptation, did not like the 2nd one as much, but you know, that's movie adaptations for you. But yeah, I have read that book. And that was the Bookternet All-Star Charity Challenge. Whew, that was a lot. That was a lot. Do I just need a second? okay, I'm good. I am so happy that I was able to do this tag. I think it is for such a good cause. As I said before, I will be also donating some money to this charity pot that Rachael Marie has started. I've left all the links you need down below if you want to donate or submit your own video. That would be great. As I said before, I am personally tagging Delancey, Sadie, and Erin. But honestly, everyone is welcome to do this tag. It is for such a good cause and I highly recommend it. And it's sort of fun to see what you've read of Bookternet's favorites and what you haven't. I think I was a pretty mixed bag. And that's all for this video. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Hit the notification bell to get updates on when I post. I post every single Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!